So today's webinar is entitled Bolster Your Bottom Line and Streamline Your Service Department with Sage Service Operations with Sage 100 Contractor. We'll be providing a comprehensive overview of the Sage Service Operations solution and how this tool can be used to enhance your service management billings with your company. And the Sage Service Operation works directly with your service receivables, so time, notes, parts can all be seen in real time and in both platforms. And just wanted to go over kind of the architecture just to give an idea of some context here. The Sage Service Operations is a browser-based solution. It resides in the cloud and interfaces directly with your Sage 100 Contractor. In the bottom left, we have your Sage 100 Contractor solution. It's installed in your back office. And this is still going to be used to process all your billings, your payroll, and your accounting. But by harnessing the power of the cloud or the internet, Sage Service Operations is able to read and write work order-related information directly from the field back into your mobile device. So your users simply need to log in to the website via browser, whether that be on a phone, tablet, or laptop, and access the website, in which provides access to the work order related information in real time. And this really empowers your field employees to create work orders on the fly, do their daily field reports if necessary, if job-related information, submit time entries capturing that time information, and then quote directly from the field. And this, again, writes all directly back in your Sage 100 Contractor system. Now, for the office staff, you now have the ability to dispatch your employees to the appropriate work, as well as reviewing time and quotes. So Sage Service Operations also has a client portal where the client, such as like a McDonald's, has the ability to log into that portal and submit service tickets for your company and issue and assign them to different technicians out in the field. So a lot of different solutions, a full solution suite for the service industry. And as we mentioned, Sage Service Operation is a browser-based solution with responsive design. So today I'll be operating from my laptop, similar to how an office user would be accessing the solution, but I'll be taking a few moments to emulate what it looks like for our users out in the field as well, using a tablet or a phone. Now, depending on how you access the site, the solution is smart enough to contour the site to your screen real estate. So you'll see here that accessing from a tablet or an iPad looks similar to how you would be accessing it from your computer. But when I switch to, on the right-hand side, accessing it from my phone, responsive design changes the site to efficiently access using scrolling and touch-enabled interface, much like the button options you see here. Something to keep note on is that the Sage Service Operations can also track time. So based on their permissions granted by the admin, Sage Service Operations will authenticate your permissions based on the initial setup. Time entry can be entered in for work orders, job, miscellaneous time, shop time, vacation, and all this is seen by the office staff. They can dispatch as needed or schedule the employee. The technician will have the visibility to their own time, or the office staff can have access to their time review that we'll take a look at later today. With the time entry, we'll be taking a look at two different types. The first is on the side of punch action. So employees punch in when they start. The system tracks the cost code and appropriate time in the background and then punches out when completed. You'll see here that we also have the ability to track travel time. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see the standard entry, entering X amount of work hours for a specific work order and getting that information back into Sage 100 Contractor. So in terms of what Sage Service Operations will do, we've kind of gone and hit over some of the main points out in the field, work order management, purchase orders even from the field. We even have the ability to take photos of the work that you're doing. Some of our clients like to take a before and after photo. And then once you attach that to the actual work order, that then attaches within your Sage 100 Contractor as well, within the attachments. And all the tools that the field employee really needs to be accessible, still having access to your accounting software and previous work order information and history. So that way, there's no longer a latency between the field and the office. All that is now instantly available for both sides of the business. And if we look on the bottom here, what it provides for the office staff, you're really eliminating that paperwork. A lot of our clients are still working with bond forms, multiple pages that they're having to keep track of, have to manually enter that information in from the office once that paperwork's been submitted. But really, this is to reduce that duplicate data entry, having that entry actually out in the field, and then easier to generate payroll since that information is pushed directly into your Sage 100 contractor. And now, this ultimately provides getting your billings out quicker, collecting payments, generating your payroll, and verifying payroll information more efficiently, and then dispatching the work if you have technicians that must be in multiple locations during the day. So now we'll go ahead and take a look, and I'll jump over into my Sage Service Operations. When I'm in my Sage Service Operations, I'll be operating in a few different roles. That way everybody on the webcast can see how their specific role would operate in the solution. One of these roles being the administrator or the dispatcher in the office that would be the one to look at all their field employees and how to utilize them throughout the day. Throughout today's presentation, I'll be logged in as an administrator, so you'll be seeing a lot more options than a field employee would see. Keep in mind that a lot of these views are customizable, so if you didn't want your field employees to see certain selections, you can actually remove that from their screen. Now over here on the left-hand side, this is my list of work orders. This is the same list in my Sage 100 contractor. If it was generated in my 11.2 service receivables, it's going to show up here in this list. If your company's workflow is to process the work orders out in the fly, on the field, once your technicians write those back once they create them, it'll write back into your Sage 100 contractor database, so nothing's ever going to be missed and you're always going to see the most current information. As the administrator or the dispatcher, I have several ways to customize this view. Although we're looking at all the employees right now, I can actually customize this list to show certain groupings. So if I want to look at them by trade, or if I want to look at them by location, I have the ability to filter that list, as you can see here. Additionally, we have the ability to schedule out vendors or equipment and any additional information to provide further context. With the scheduling and the scheduler, you'll see I have the ability to look at a day view. I have the ability to look at and we'll just bring up all the team members so you can see kind of a better view. A week view, all the way out to 2 weeks. A month view. And even an alt day view that's very similar to how you would schedule out time in Outlook. So although all the options within Sage 100 Contractor, the dispatch, are very good, this really extends your views so you can have a little bit better ease of use with the actual dispatch board. And I have the ability to just drag and drop work orders from the list here into my employee schedule. And then once you get the notification up here on the top, you know that it's been updated on that employees or technicians assignments. And again, this then, any time that's captured within your Sage Service Operations is then populated over in the 551 payroll screen for your Sage 100 contractor. So I can look at my work orders here on the left. I can filter them. I could look at them by service work order or technician. I could slice and dice this information however I need to easily be able to get the work out to my technicians quickly. You'll also see that we have different color coding, and that's based on what your company wants to see, and the priority of this color coding is essentially set up by your Sage 100 contractor and can be customized within your Sage Service Operations as well. And we'll take a look at how some of the colors change within the actual work orders that have been scheduled. That way you can see what's going on out in your text and have without having to bother them. So a lot of the times you're having to call multiple times on the technician, see where they're at. This essentially eliminates that phone call and gives you the ability to see, based on a color change, where the technician is on their particular work order. Now, as a dispatcher, if I wanted to look at a client site without having to go back into Sage 100 Contractor, I could just use the search utility up here, bring up Lamb Shoes, and it'll automatically bring up all my Lamb Shoes, my main location, and any additional locations as well if they have many different stores here. I'll go ahead and select store number 16. Now, depending on your security permissions, you can also give access to your technicians out in the field. So this work order information that we're viewing here is all the work order information within your Sage 100 Contractor. So giving a history of the work orders that have occurred on this site, you can kind of relate to seeing if there was a work order here the previous day or even the same day, maybe something went wrong or we have to follow up on that. Giving either the office employee or the tech some context before actually going out to the service site. So we'll be going over a new work order, and you'll see all the different options here. I can look at the equipment that's been installed on the site, have custom forms or checklists to be able to fill out, and then accumulate all this information with attachments. So again, service requests, service reports can be entered in here, pictures of the actual work that's been done, all within your job sites and also within your Sage 100 Contractor for reference as well. Now, if I'm creating a new purchase order out from the field, I simply select New Work Order, and it will start with the next work order in line. So since I'm already at the work site, it brings in my location for me automatically, or I could use the lookup tool once again to look up a different site if needed. I can attach a photo if I'm looking to create a purchase order from work orders, as well as any additional information based on the settings within my Sage 100 Contractor. I'll go ahead and select Lamb Shoes since that's my customer. Right now it's assigned to myself, but being the technician, you are able to select from your list of technicians out in the field. And we'll just enter in a quick description of fixing the AC unit out there. Now, as I'm generating this work order, it's writing directly back into your 11.2 screen on Sage 100 Contractor. Once that completed this workflow, we'll go ahead and jump back into Sage 100 Contractor to see where this information is being saved. So I'll go ahead and generate that work order for myself. Now, we're going to kind of switch roles here. So I'm going to go into my next tab over here, and we're going to look at from the technician's view, viewing their assignments. So this is essentially their assignments. This is where they would log in the morning to see where they're supposed to be going out for the jobs. The assignments page is basically replacing their time card as well as any dispatching whiteboard that you may have, giving them the access and availability to this information real time within their browser. So if I wanted to see that updated work order that I just added, I simply hit the refresh button. And there it is. There's the work order, service work order that we just created for Lamb Shoes. But now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show what it looks like to actually view this from your phone. So hold on while I switch to that view. So again, if this is going to be viewed in a tablet, it's going to have the same look and feel of what I'm viewing on my laptop. I can scroll with my finger. I can collapse the previous days or later days to get a better view of just today. I could even toggle today's view by just hitting this calendar button, just so it's giving me the appropriate information I need to see for today. Additionally, if I'm taking a look at this information on my phone, so we'll switch to that view. Again, contours to the shape of your screen, being able to collapse the information just as I was before. But now when I go into these screens, you're going to notice that I have the ability to view this in a button mode. So very nice, very nicely contoured to the actual device that you're on. And just for the sake of being able to view this, the rest of the demonstration, I'll go ahead and come back into my full view. So again, that was the view that you saw there in the buttons, now in the full view for here. So I'm going back into my assignments. Now let's start the new work order, and I'll go ahead and click on that. Now, when I go to my assignments page, I can, again, track time either by punching in manually, by doing punch in or punch out, or by entering in flat time. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. So going into the actual work order, I'll click on my assignments. And now you'll be able to see that I have my assignments here. I'm just going to go ahead and update the time since we're past that 6 o'clock time frame. So I'll go ahead and push this out to 9 to 10. Update that assignment so it updates the office staff on that dispatch board. Again, we can track travel time as well. So if I want to go ahead and click travel start, this punch action is starting that in the background and tracking all that time. It'll give me an alert letting me know that that travel time has been updated. Now, if I jump back into my dispatch mode, what we'll go ahead and do is take a look at that. My dispatch scheduler. And we can see here now that that information has been updated as travel start. It's now showing up in purple. So anything here in white is going to be an open assignment. Purple is a travel time. Green is active and working. Red is suspended. So if a project needs to carry over, a work order needs to carry over into the next day, gray means completed. That way, right from the scheduler, you're able to see what the status is. Once the day is complete, all the work orders should be gray. So if one's left open, you can simply click on the task and see any notes. Maybe it says that not all the work was completed and it was suspended. That way I could move the work order over to the next day and schedule out as necessary. So going back into the work order from the technician view, we have the ability to enter notes. So just as you would in the office, you can enter in any notes to the customer saying called out for AC fix. And you can even have the ability to enter in custom or canned notes. So you can switch these. If your blue note's your internal note and your yellow note's your customer note, that's not a problem. But since this is customer viewing, I'll just go ahead and put a complete note in there saying the work has been completed to the customer's specification. So making it truly easy for the technician to enter in this information. Yellow note, same idea, just entering in notes. The nice thing about this note section is that since we're going to be doing this from a mobile device, you can actually use the keyboard with the microphone and do talk to text. But if I want to go ahead and do this, we'll go ahead and say I have overtime availability later on today, just letting everybody in the office know that information. So we'll go ahead and submit those notes. Now, I did mention that you can enter in standard time as well. So actually entering that flat time is an option for your technicians out in the field. So if we look at that, that's simply this hour selection. So you can, if you don't want them entering the flat time, you would simply remove this from their screen so they wouldn't be able to see that based on their security settings. But I'll go ahead and enter that. Add labor. I can enter that in for myself or anybody else if I have the capability. So if I have a crew that I'm actually scheduling out, I can have the ability to set that. We'll go ahead and put my start time, my hours, so we'll go ahead and put 2 hours. Cost code if necessary, pay group. We have the ability to load multiple pay groups, but I'll go ahead and leave that out. Billable hours if you're tracking payroll hours versus billable hours. Unit price, if you have that to track, but your pay tables will automatically pick up that wage information in the background. And you can have this not show if necessary. Again, any equipment that was installed on the workstation, at the actual work site, you can enter that in. Any additional notes or owner notes, all internal that you'll see with this particular work order. So we'll go ahead and save that labor. Now, when looking at these two time capturing options, you have the ability to do either or, and it's completely up to your company which one you want to use. So it doesn't necessarily need to be you doing this manual time in the field or out in the field. You can actually do, oh, I need to enter a quick description. And you'll notice that anything that has the asterisk is going to be a required field, and it's not going to let you go on just as you saw there. So go ahead and enter in that flat time. I'll go back to my assignments, and then we're going to go ahead and do travel, finish, and start. Again, entering that pay group, cost code, and then we'll go ahead and save that entry to payroll. Now, again, back on the scheduler, I go ahead and check my scheduler, refresh this page, and you'll notice that the color does change from purple to green, showing that I am now working on that job site. So again, my dispatcher is getting updated information right from their dispatching board. So going back into the technician view, we can add a number of different things. If you want to add a purchase order, you could do so. Some don't allow their employees to do so from the field. You can add assembly parts. So if I click on Add Assembly, it actually gives me ability to search my assembly parts within my Sage 100 Contractor. So I'll just type in panel, and that'll bring up my panels that I'm installing. Quantity, it'll automatically bring in the sell price if you have that within your actual assembly list within Sage 100 Contractor, but I'll go ahead and update this as well. Save that assembly. Now, again, we can add inventory or parts, so we'll go ahead and add parts as well. Again, pulling from my parts list within my Sage 100 Contractor. We'll type in steel. I'll type in angled steel there, quantity of 1. Again, unit price will automatically pull, but if I wanted to add this, I can go ahead and enter that in there. Additional context or information about the site location, and again, any additional information that's going to help out the office and yourself. So go ahead and save that inventory. Miscellaneous items is the next area to go to. Essentially, this is very similar to how you would enter in miscellaneous items. A common use for miscellaneous items is parking fees. So we'll just do a quantity of 1. $15, type of other. Again, site location or any other notes you want to add in. Again, you can have these fields removed if you don't want them showing up within this selection. Save that. And now what you're going to see is I'm building this work order with all this information. So at the very end, we'll see what that looks like, but I also want the ability to upload a photo. So that's going to be within my attachment screen here. So once I go here, I have the ability to add attachments. Right now, since I'm on my laptop, it's actually allowing me to choose files. But if this were on your tablet or your phone, it's actually going to have the camera icon, so you could actually take a picture. But I'll go ahead and select my job photos. We'll go ahead and select that AC unit that I'm taking a picture of, entering in the title, like a before picture. Quick description, if I wanted to enter it, equipment, and go ahead and add that attachment. And now that that attachment's added in the background, I have the ability to do a number of different things as well. So I can email that attachment. So you can see down here, there the attachment exists. We can refresh the page, and we'll go into actually going to the attachments and being able to sketch that up as well. So if I go into my sketch utility, just from here, I'll type in before, and now selecting that background image of the image of the particular AC unit that I'm working on. Going ahead and marking it up just with my finger here, if I'm on a tablet, showing the work that was been done. Say I removed this tube here and replaced it. Giving you some context, and then when I want to, I could even send this back into my home office to then get an idea of kind of the work that's been done, or if I need help on the particular work, they're going to call out a more senior technician to let me know. So I'll go ahead and save that sketch. Once I do so, it does maintain the original pictures. So it doesn't remove the picture and put on a sketch. It actually creates a new document. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So now you see I have that image file and the actual sketch that I did, all in a very professional looking PDF file, giving the customer information, the sketch, the comments if needed, that replaced image that I uploaded, and that's now within my attachments within my 11.2 screen as well. Now, just moving on, we're going to go ahead and update this actual report. And again, the report section, you can have additional authorization for work reports. You can have a photo report, all customizable. So we actually have a form and report creator within this tool to customize any forms that you have out in the field. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the view service report. When we do so, you'll notice that I have the ability to customize how my service report is actually going to look. So again, it has the client information, the description, the work performed, any assignments, any additional parts information, the quantities of the actual flat panel, the angled steel that I entered in before, the AC unit fix, and then if I wanted to add the customer information and add their email address to then send it to them right when the work has been completed, actually have a signature that's captured out in the field. So if I wanted to capture a customer signature and then the technician signature, I can accept this agreement. We could attach any of those pictures that I wanted to do, but we'll just go ahead and click continue. Once this information has been saved, it's all compiling that information under work order number 86 here. And just making sure my assignments is updated, I'm going to go ahead and do assignment completed. Again, save that entry to payroll. Now my work order has been completed. It's updated my dispatch board. If I look back on the dispatch board, that green service work order should now show up as gray. And there it is, been completed. So now going back into my Sage 100 Contractor, we're going to kind of look at what it looks like with that. So we're going to go into my Sage 100 Contractor. Again, going into that 11.2 screen. Here, I'm going to jump into it. Number 86, just enter that in, lamb shoes, all the information, who was dispatched out there. I was dispatched out there. Jump to the invoice details, showing all that information of what was added out in the field, whether it be assemblies or parts. This way I no longer have to look at the paperwork. All this information is being loaded from the field right to here. Those attachments that I attached to the work order, that before picture, the actual SketchUp of that before picture, and then the service report. Again, the work order notes, that yellow note that I entered in, the blue note that I entered in, all populating from the field. Now, if I go into my payroll, my 551, all those punch actions were captured, all that flat time was entered, and all that information is now seen here within that screen. So Sage 100 Contractor pulls all the defaults based on the information within your accounting. So really all Sage Service Operation is doing is pulling that time information directly from the field and into your Sage 100 Contractor.